Educators and students from all over the Inland Empire, welcome to another session of SB Connect Industry Chats. This is where we connect to and educate for the world of work. Today, we're speaking to you from Victor Valley College Auto Tech program. Today, we will work with Steve Cultus as he gives us a tour of his wonderful program. We have a lot in store today. Today, you will see the ADAS system in play. You'll also get a real good upfront introduction to all of the federally recognized ASE certifications that are available here. So I will hand off our presentation to Steve Cultus after this short video of the Victor Valley College Auto Tech program. Enjoy.
The automotive program at Victor Valley College is designed to provide students with the necessary skills and certifications to gain employment in the automotive field. Redesigned curriculum allows students to receive any of 11 new ASE Industry Alliance Certificates of Achievement, including Alternative Propulsion, Light Duty Diesel, Automotive Detailing and Shop Porter, Automotive Service Writing and Shop Management, the California State Smog Inspector Program, and the 8 main ASE professional courses.
I never knew our Victor Valley College had such a great program for the automotive technicians. We have, I think, 16 racks and bays now to work on vehicles, a tool crib full of tools and diagnostic tools and everything you need. I never knew that the community college we have here can equip you so well. And had I known that, I would have started a lot sooner.
What I like most about the auto program here is that I've learned so much in a short amount of time. The instructors are very thorough about what they teach. They're preparing you to enter the automotive world, just be a great technician.
I learned so much about Dodge, Ford, BMWs, Volkswagens. Like, you learn every brand, and you just don't learn about the car. You learn about coding, you learn about brake systems, suspensions, you learn about the service writings. You learn everything.
Victor Valley College offers a newly expanded and remodeled facility, including the only automotive dealership-style service writing area in the California community college system that replicates a dealership experience. New programs that are under development include a new fabrication program, as well as an advanced driver assistance systems and autonomous vehicle program. The new classroom and management complex, newly remodeled main lab area, and newly remodeled alignment, brake, and suspension lab at Victor Valley College will get you ready to work in the automotive industry. In addition to automotive classes, Victor Valley College provides assistance with internship and job placement, as well as assistance with professional resume development.
What I like most is that you really get what you put into it. And if you come in here with a desire to learn about the field, or you have your own plans or vision for your life, the instructors are more than happy to help you and guide you where you want to go.
It's just a nice environment. Everyone's friendly. Everyone's just really cool to work with.
When you're here, you actually leave with a family. It's amazing. Like, come here to learn and allow yourself to be immersed in the atmosphere, and you will take so much away from it.
Steve Cultus, take it away.
Morning, everybody. My name's Steve Cultus. I'm one of the full-time instructors here at Victor Valley College. And I'm just going to take you on a quick tour around the shop environment this morning and highlight a couple of the things. The video that you just saw outlined our then 11, now 12 automotive certificate programs. Since then, we've added on a dealership pathway in which the students spend 2 years in their education, finish an associate's degree, and then they're placed directly into a paid internship at a dealership, where at that point they would work in the dealership environment. And when they complete the 4-year program, they are awarded a tool set that they would work that follows them all the way through that internship. So in addition to the ones he's talked about, we have that. We're under development with a certificate in advanced driver assistance systems. We've already developed one class, actually 2 classes, and I'll show you a little bit about that technology as we go through. And in addition to that, we just got certified for the first associate's degree in automotive for shop management, and that just happened a few weeks ago. So that's pretty exciting stuff. It's the first one in our state. So let's take a little walk around and see what the shop looks like. The environment that we're in right now is one of the new lab areas that we've took over the old welding building. All of our brake equipment is on this side. Over here, we have 2 computerized laser alignment systems from Hunter. And this is state-of-the-art Hunter alignment equipment that allows us to do very precise alignments. In addition to that, we do use this alignment platform over here as one of our areas for advanced driver assistance calibrations. And if you come around over here, part of the calibration system are these targeting boards right here. We'll show you a little bit more on that later. And then on the other side over here, we have all of our tire equipment where we have tire balancing and tire mounting equipment, including a Hunter road force balancer that balances tires up to about 180 mile an hour equivalent. So it's all state-of-the-art equipment. So this is where we house all of our brake and suspension and alignment classes. We'll go ahead and head towards the main lab here. And one of the things that I would like to talk about is the fact that we've been very, very fortunate to acquire a lot of grant money in the last few years, and it's allowed us to purchase all state-of-the-art equipment. Included in that, we have diagnostic tools for Ford, General Motors, Chrysler, Toyota, and Honda, and we've purchased subscriptions to the same information systems that the dealers use in order for them to acquire data and do vehicle repairs. This area in here is our transmission lab area. And included in that, if you look around, you can see the tear down tables on the other side with disassembled transmissions, etc. So this is where we do all that in a clean environment. We'll head over through our storage area. And this is where we house most of our diagnostic equipment. We're sprouting out of our seams a bit with room, but most of these toolboxes that are underneath here that are plugged in are advanced diagnostic scanners and lab scopes, tools that we use to teach our electronics program and our diagnostic area. The next classroom in here is our live engine lab. And once again, similar to the transmission area, this is where we rebuild motors and do all of our engine repairs and stuff. These are our old classrooms that they're retrofitted as a clean environment so that we can do engine assembly, et cetera, in here without having intrusion from dirt and dust, et cetera, that's airborne. And as we go through here, we're entering into our main lab area. As you can see, we have about 14 above ground lifts in this area. This is newly remodeled about 5 years ago. And this is where we hold most of our live lab classes. Currently with COVID, we've converted our classes to a hybrid format where the students do all their academic exercises online, and then they come in for a 3-hour lab session for each of the 4-unit classes. So they still have hands-on. Of course, we're masked up and exercising good precautions, but we've done good adaptations to that. So you still are able to get your hands on a tool and work on live vehicles. We do work on student and faculty cars as well as some vehicles from the outside, especially when we need more work. And we kind of encourage that because the best education is to be able to work on a live broken car. So you weren't able to see the parking lot. We have about 35 cars that are in various stages of repair right now. That we're using for our program. So it's not just all simulations. Nearly all the vehicles you work in the advanced classes will be live broken cars that are either from the college or from outside. So one of the things that we have the ability to do is because of our large lab area is we've adapted this area as an area that we do targeting for ADAS systems. And I know that Mike mentioned that earlier. ADAS is an acronym that's for Advanced Driver Assistance Systems, and that's inclusive of adaptive cruise control, self-parking systems, lane keep assist, accident avoidance systems, pedestrian mitigation, and then eventually, as we move forward, that will evolve into autonomous self-driving vehicles. And I'm sure that most of you know that some of the manufacturers already have what they call level 3 ADAS systems available. Tesla, Mercedes-Benz, Cadillac. If you guys have seen the video on the new Hummer, which is just an amazing electric vehicle, that has this Cadillac Super Cruise, the GM Super Cruise on it as well. But we have not evolved into full autonomy. At this point, all of those systems require attention on the driver's part on watching their environment in case that the perception systems can't engage fully. They disengage and require the driver to take over. So that's what we call level 3 autonomy. As we move into level 4, that allows for full driver assistance, full self-driving mode with the ability to convert back to a driver operation. And then as we move forward into level 5, it won't even have an option for the driver to take over. And you'll see all this evolve in about the next 10 years. We will eventually get to the point where all the human-driven vehicles will be off the road and all of them will be self-driving, and hopefully get to a point where we are 0 accidents in our driving environment. But that's probably 25 years away. So you guys will see it in your lifetime. I'm probably going to be really old at that time and be able to at least utilize that as as having self-driving available. So what we're going to show today on this Honda Accord that we have set up in our lab environment are two types of calibrations. One of the calibrations is going to be for a radar system, and the radars they use on these vehicles, they use a combination of radar and high-resolution cameras. The radar unit itself is right here, and so it pings and transmits out a radar signal and then brings it back in and receives it. So that's a transmitter and a receiver, and it spreads at about a 45 to 50 degree angle. So not only does it monitor what's in front of them, it looks at cars and lanes on either side as well. And then in addition to that, you may not notice this, but on those later model vehicles, you're going to see this black screened area right here. And we have a single high resolution camera on this. It's a digital camera. Some manufacturers like Subaru use 2 cameras, and that allows them to use it for depth perception and distance calculation as well. Whereas this uses the radar and the camera to calculate distances to avoid impacts. And as well as that, the adaptive cruise control, if you've never used that, measures the distance in the vehicle in front of you, measures your speed and their speed, and you set a prescribed speed just like you would on a normal cruise control. But if the vehicle's in front of you slow down, it automatically keeps a safe distance depending on what your speed is. And then when they speed back up, allows the vehicle to speed back up and follow the car in front of them. And my wife has a 21 Hyundai Santa Fe that has that on it. I drove all the way to San Diego and back without touching the brake pedal once on that car. So it's really, really good technology. It'll come to a complete stop to make it accelerate. If it sits more than 3 seconds, you just tap the gas and it accelerates back up to speed. And I think it's exciting, cool technology. So whenever we have any sort of an impact or a failure in one of the components, or even replacing the windshield because the windshield has a certain amount of distortion, it does require recalibration of this equipment. So the first thing I'm going to show you is just some basics of setup for doing the radar portion of it. So we'll come back over here and look at our radar projections. So what we use to set these up is we use lasers. And I'm not going to turn that other laser on quite yet because it gets a little noisy. But if you see the green laser going down the vehicle, we'll set that up on the center line of the vehicle. And when we actually darken the lights a little more, we'll go all the way to the top pin on the back of the car. And that allows us to go down the center of the emblem through that and establish the center line on the vehicle. The second thing that we'll do is we'll take this forward. And this device right here is a laser measurement device. It measures distances. So in order to measure the height of the laser unit itself, we're going to take this device, we're going to drop it in here. We're going to look at we're going to measure the height of the radar unit at a prescribed point. We're going to set our target up at the same height, and then we'll move it back over here. And then we'll use that center line as a marker for the center of the vehicle. And there's a prescribed measurement that's the offset for the laser unit. And we'll turn on a second laser unit right here. And like I said, it's a little noisy. And we'll measure from there to there and from there to there. And it puts this targeting point at the prescribed area to do the laser calibration. I'm going to turn this off. At that point, what we would do was we would take the measuring device off. And if you can see that dihedral pattern target right there, that is actually a laser deflector that's designed to have a calibrated reflection point back to the laser unit. Once we have all of that set up, we use a scanner device, same as like a diagnostic scanner, except it's equipped for ADAS systems, driver assistance systems. There's a unit that we plug in under the dash to the diagnostic connector, and this communicates wirelessly to that. And so we'll boot the vehicle up. We'll go ahead and program it for the laser calibration, and it'll go ahead and do a measurement on it. And it's either within specs or out of specs. And if it's out of specs, we have to make a correction either with the position of the laser or maybe a failed unit if it was impacted or something like that. So that's what we use to do the laser to do the radar calibration on the vehicle. So in addition to that, we also have to do the cameras. So for the camera system, we're going to use the same command device, the scanner here. However, in this particular case, we're going to be setting up this target with the target board on it. And every manufacturer has a different target board. We're going to start by placing the target board. So we have to take a measurement from the center line of the wheel, and we'll take that measurement and plug it in to our scanner when we're doing the calibration. And then in order to place the target boards on either side of this unit, there's holes right here and there, and those are actually high-resolution digital cameras. So we'll move this forward, and those high-resolution cameras will measure the distance to the target boards in the back, if you can see them back there on the wheels themselves, the checkerboards back there. And that allows us to place it both centered and the distance. And while we're setting this up, it actually has targets on the scanner that we read, and it interfaces with the board and allows us to place this in the proper position so that we can calibrate the cameras. And like I said, anytime the vehicle's been in an accident, camera replaced, airbags got deployed, or just replacing the windshield. Every windshield has a certain amount of distortion. We do have to recalibrate those cameras at that point. So the same thing, we'll command the function with our scanner. It'll tell the vehicle to go into calibration mode, and the camera will calibrate a minimal amount and make compensations to target on board. If it's off a certain amount, it won't complete. We have to adjust the camera, replace the camera, and then we go back and do it again. Then the third type of calibration we have is what we call a dynamic calibration. And a dynamic calibration is what General Motors use on most of their vehicles. It self-tests itself, and once you have a mechanical adjustment done on them with levels, etc., you take the vehicle out on the road, and you have to be going a certain speed and a certain lane in a certain lane configuration. You have to change lanes a couple times, and it goes through and it perceives its environment and self-calibrates off of that. So we have radar, cameras, and dynamic calibrations. And the dynamic calibrations, like on our Chevy Bolt, which is outside here, is the same thing. It has radar and camera systems on it that they self-calibrate instead. So really, really interesting stuff, in my opinion. As these become more and more robust, the vehicles become much, much safer. And the computer has the ability to make an evasive maneuver, a stopping maneuver, and make that decision in microseconds, whereas the average human being takes 3/4 of a second to a second to respond. And they also don't miscalculate. We do. So humans make mistakes. Last thing I wanted to show you back here, I'll move this stuff out of the way. push all four of them up. The last thing we do to test these accident avoidance and pedestrian mitigation systems are these soft targets that are foam filled. We will actually drive the vehicle into them like we're going to crash into them. Don't hit the brake, let the vehicle go in, and the automatic stopping system will stop the vehicle about 1 to 2 feet short of that. And the same for the pedestrian mitigation. So these are special reflective targets that reflect the radar back, and it helps them perceive their environment a little better. So on that note, let's go ahead and head over to the other shop area. We're going to walk through our fabrication lab, which is a little bit messy right now because it's under construction. But starting this winter, we're going to offer our first fabrication class. We put computerized lab cutter, welding equipment, tubing bender, metalworking equipment, etc. So that's part of our new program. And we did also talk about our service writer and shop management program. And I'll let you just go in there, show them what the lab looks like. This is our live lab area right here, where we intake vehicles to be worked on by the students. You see it looks very much like a dealership environment. This is where they teach all the service writing. They have a shop management program, and here's just like a normal shop would to operate that part of it. And then over here is our new classroom complex. So we have 3 classrooms on the left-hand side. There's one more on the right side. And they utilize that for their building academic classes. And this is what our classrooms look like. All 3 of them are pretty much identical. You know, full projection system, mic turn, document camera to do demonstrations and stuff like that. We currently have them reconfigured for fewer students just for COVID in case we do have to have an environment that requires some social distancing. So we know this will take about 20 students when COVID is here, and we can go up to about 36 students when we're doubled up on per table. So on that note, does anybody have any questions?
I have a question for you, Steve. What is next on the horizon for automation in vehicles in the auto industry?
Well, there's kind of 2 different significant evolutions happening right now. We are right in the middle of converting to electric propulsion, and that's fairly new technology as far as mainstream automobile propulsion goes. We're undergoing a huge conversion to electric vehicle technology. Most of the manufacturers are going to be all in and not offer any internal combustion engines after the year 2030. Sounds like a long time, but they just launched their 22 model years. So it's actually only 8 years. And Toyota and Honda and General Motors have already made that commitment. You may or may not have heard about California legislation where they won't allow any manufacturer to offer vehicles for sale after 2030 that have internal combustion engines. And then at the same time, autonomy or self-driving vehicles is coming in really, really quickly. And the development of AI technology is going to have an impact on that. Right now, we're somewhat limited by perception systems, meaning the ability of the car to perceive its environment. So ultimately, what will happen as we evolve into that over the next 5 to 10 years, the onboard computer systems will be much more complicated. They'll have to have huge macro processors in them. Currently, for instance, for guidance systems and vehicle positioning, our current satellite network can calculate to about 3 feet accuracy, which sounds pretty good. However, if you're coming up on a crosswalk, that means you're taking out somebody's legs because you crossed the line. The new systems, when we get into the level 6 satellite systems, will calculate to about 3 centimeters, which obviously is much smaller, a very, very high accuracy level. In addition to that, we'll have embedded sensors in the highways that'll help them calculate positioning. Mapping systems like Google, who's mapping nearly every road in the country right now with their perception systems. And then in addition to that, we'll have vehicle-to-vehicle infrastructure where each vehicle will communicate with one another. So the vehicle will be able to communicate with the the vehicle ahead of it. It's going to tell us where its position is. If it had to make an avoidance for a traffic problem like a construction zone, it lets the cars around it know, and they'll circumvent and go around to help manage traffic infrastructure. As well as that, they'll have satellite downlinks and embedded road sensors. And so the vehicles will have all this perception, and they'll know exactly where they are and what's going on around them. And it will really solve, as well as alleviating accidents, it'll solve a lot of traffic infrastructure issues.
Thank you. Thank you. I have another question as well. How would you encourage those considering a career in the auto tech field?
All I will tell you is that it is an industry that is very challenging and requires a lot of technical knowledge. It would virtually be impossible to get into a higher paying automotive job without at least a couple years of education behind you, just because of the complexities of all the systems on the vehicles. On the same note, if you're interested in cars or computers or electronics, you get all of the above when you're working on vehicles, and every year our technology is going to change. It used to be a very low prestige job, and you hear about people calling them grease monkeys and all that. Yeah, that's not it anymore. We are highly qualified technicians. Pay scales have increased. A good 10-year experienced master technician, somebody who has their ASE certificates, would normally bring about $70,000 a year. And an exceptional dealer technician who's maybe 15 years in the field and works on all the high-tech stuff, in excess of $120,000 a year. So I mean, the mean wages are about 50 grand, but that includes also people who are just mopping floors and changing oil. And so you get that education, you work on all the high-end technical stuff, and it's a very profitable career. And personal transportation is not going anywhere in California. We don't have a rapid transit system. People like to drive their own cars. So if you look at it as how sustainable the industry is, 30 years looks really good for us. It may change into a different type of propulsion system, or maybe even aerial. However, you're always going to have something to work on. So it really is a good, sustainable, profitable industry.
Well, thank you for that outlook. I know there are quite a few students in the Inland Empire really looking to pursue this pathway, and many of them that are pursuing the pathway at Victor Valley College. What would they be looking for? What makes Victor Valley College stand apart from the rest?
Well, if you haven't been on campus, you don't really know what our college looks like. And it's kind of funny because I taught here nearly 18 years before I was even on upper campus, and I went back to school and finished up my degree. And I just realized that we are this amazing educational institution. We have resources available to students, not just financial aid, in pretty much every aspect of your education. The campus is amazing. Our automotive program is state-of-the-art with equipment and our academics. We're probably a year ahead of most of the colleges in the driver assistance area. We really try to not just teach current automotive technology, but we go to a lot of seminars and stuff and look at future technology and anticipate those needs. So I can truly say that we're a state-of-the-art program. We're exceptionally well equipped. You'll be working on a car, maybe even in an intro class, and you'll say, "Oh, I'm having a hard time doing this." Wait a minute, we got a cool tool for that. Let me go in the tool crib, and we got some really nice specialty tool that makes that process easier. We have 3 full-time instructors, I think 6 part-time instructors, and each of us have an area of expertise that they teach. Don't ask me about transmissions, but you ask me about electronics and alternative propulsion and advanced driver systems, I'm your guy. So if you have a transmission question, we turn you over to Keith Shaner, and that's his specialty area. Or a diesel question, and it's Todd Coons. Or a shop management question, and it's Lee Bennett. So, and each of us has in excess of 20 years in the field before we came to teach here. So it's not like we're just book smart and have never touched a car. I've got 42 years in the industry, and I just sold my shop 3.5 years ago. So 39 solid years of fixing cars and owning a shop. So all of us really have a lot of expertise in the field. It's challenging, it's exciting. New technology comes out all the time, and you just keep in the back of your mind that yesterday's sci-fi is tomorrow's technology, and then all of a sudden it pops up on a car and you go, wow, that was it. Didn't see that coming that quickly. So it's been a very, very good sustainable industry.
Well, thank you, Steve, for such a wonderful tour today. We also want to thank our educators and students from all over the Inland Empire for joining you. We hope to work with you again. This does conclude our tour for the day, but we want to make sure our educators know how they can join us in building the School to Career Pipeline. Please go to sbcalliance.org to look for our next exciting session at a training program, industry, or business partner across the Inland Empire. Again, thank you, educators and students, and have a wonderful day.
Thank you guys for having me here today. Have a good day.